Hey guys, Michael here. I hope you will all forgive me for what might seem like a pretty frivolous video here, but again, this video is intended to really be sort of the starting point of a conversation that we can all have as a community. And the last video that I made that was kind of along the same lines here, which was basically what were my favorite races in the game, actually has performed really well, and so yeah, I really enjoyed the conversation that started up in the comments section of that video. So I'm kind of hoping that we can get a little bit more of something like that going in this video. But anyway, this one's not going to take very long because this is going to be my I don't want to say least favorite legendary lords. So these are the legendary lords that I have literally never played, and it's not a very long list. I can't do a top five because there aren't five that I've never played. There are three that I've never played, and so I'm going to mention the three that I've stayed away from, and I'm going to explain why I've stayed away from them. And you're going to think that those are pretty silly reasons, probably. And I'm actually looking forward to having some of you basically point out to me the error of my ways and explain why I should actually be giving these guys a chance. But for whatever reason, for one reason or another, all of these three have turned me off, and so I've just never gotten around to playing them. And quite frankly, as it stands right now, don't have any interest in. So anyway, all right, let's go ahead and jump into the list then. But please do also, like I said, leave comments and let me know what legendary lords you kind of have silly reasons for not playing as well, or perfectly good reasons for not ever wanting to play. All right, so anyway, let's go ahead and jump into it. This is in no particular order, but I'm going to start out with what is probably the most frivolous of any of them at all, and that's this guy right here. Greasus Goldtooth. I understand he's a really important ogre in the lore. I hate the aesthetics of this. I don't know. I just kind of hate everything about it. I don't have any dislike for the ogres. I've played both of the other two legendary lords, and I quite enjoy them. Although I'm not going to say I'm particularly good with the ogres, but it's a fun, different kind of a campaign. I like the mercenary aspect of the ogres. But this guy riding around on this chair with all of this, what's the word? All this bling, flashy bling, kind of flying around while he's sliding. I don't know, there's just something about this guy kind of rubs me the wrong way. So it's purely an aesthetic decision in the case of Greasus. I know that there are some mods out there that change his look. I don't know lore-wise whether or not that's appropriate. But it certainly would make him less of a turnoff for me. However, they don't just change his aesthetics, I believe. They also actually change his functionality in game. And so if I could find a mod that only changes his aesthetics but just doesn't change his functionality, maybe then I would maybe then I would give him a chance. But anyway, so yeah, like I said, thought I'd start off with the silliest reason why I am avoiding a particular lord. I just don't have any desire to play as this guy, and there's plenty of other options that I'd rather play. Game certainly has no shortage of different legendary lords. All right, so anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. And I think these next two are probably what people will understand as slightly more valid reasons. The next one is going to be, if I can find the lizard men, right here. Tic-Tac-Toe. I like the idea, but functionally, flying units in this game are so broken, particularly melee flying units. I guess there's a mix here on this campaign, or at least I assume there is. But anyway, so this is a legendary lord who, like I said, thematically he appeals to me. I think it's kind of a cool idea, but because flying units so often ignore your attack orders, or they fly around, particularly against units they're trying to chase down, they will just fly around and not do anything at all, and it's just so frustrating. Even in the factions that don't have very many flying units, but only have a few, I get so frustrated with it that the idea of an entire campaign focused on flying units that are completely brain dead, that ignore my orders and don't fight very effectively, charging with a flying unit is such a nightmare. Because they just can't seem to take a good path down to the unit that you've told them to attack against. Anyway, I don't know. To me, this just feels like a campaign that would be an exercise in frustration, and I've wanted to avoid it. So, yeah, I'd like to play them. If CA can ever fix the attack animations and the pathfinding for flying units, I would happily change my mind and give this guy a try. But yeah, that's been the reason why I have avoided him. I enjoy all the other Lizardmen, and I'm looking forward to the changes that are happening in the next patch. But yeah, I just do not want to have to deal with the frustration of all of broken flying units. And as you all know, or at least those of you who watch any of the Let's Plays, I do fight battles manually all the time, pretty much. And so I'm not just going to auto-resolve my way through a campaign. That auto-resolving my way through campaigns makes me really bored with the game way too quickly. So, all right, so that's number 2. And then kind of in the same vein, number 3, you guys are going to be surprised by this, I think. But I've never played as the Fay Enchantress. Nothing really against her. Thematically, she's not the most appealing to me. I think most of you know I probably lean towards Chaos factions, but I've got nothing against Bretonnia, nothing against her in particular. But it's more of, I don't really, I find that I'm not very good with Bretonnia in general. I have played all the others. I'm not very good with them, though, because I'm not good with cavalry. And they require way too much micro. They get stuck in the middle of melee combats. You get a single model that gets bogged down, and it makes your entire unit go brain dead and not follow your commands. And so, again, kind of like with the flying units, it's not as bad with cavalry as it is with flying cav, but it's still frustrating enough that I tend to shy away from Bretonnia campaigns for the most part. But this is actually one where I'm hoping maybe somebody... one of you will recommend a mod to me that is going to make this a more appealing campaign. But anyway, that's all I have. Those are my 3. But like I said at the beginning, please do share with me your ideas or your own opinions as to any of these legendary lords that don't appeal to you, whether it's aesthetically, whether it's functionally, whether, thematically. For whatever reason, I'm very curious which factions. I do know some of you get turned off by, like, the Beastmen, for example. You don't like their aesthetic, and I get that. I think there's probably any number of factions like that. Maybe Slaanesh might be one that some people are turned off by. But anyway, yeah, let me know. All right, I'm going to stop rambling now. So, yeah, just let me know your guys' ideas in the comments below, and I appreciate it as always. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I will see you all in the next video.